What's up, everybody? Welcome to Moose Milk Podcast, episode 39. I'm your host, Ryan. Just going to wait a few minutes for people to join, Matt to join, and hope everybody's doing well. We got a big episode tonight. We're going to be talking Venom, Let There Be Carnage, / Venom 2. I know it just came out today, but we're going to do a spoiler-filled kind of review discussion on that. And What If Episode 8, which was on Wednesday. So if you haven't watched either of those, be prepared because there will be spoilers on both. So be prepared. We will be spoiling both What If Episode 8 and Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. And here's Matthew right now. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. How's it going? Yeah. I'm technically on vacation, which is great.
Yeah, you are.
But as soon as we're done here, I'm going to go and work because I didn't finish my work. So, gotta still finish. Stay.
You're a workaholic. You gotta stop.
I don't want to work. I just don't have an option. I have to get it done. My inability to complete my job this week will lose my store's money. So I had an interesting week. I don't know if I said it last week on the pod, but I had to find a bunch of pumpkin pies for the stores, like on super last minute. Did I tell you that last week?
No, you didn't. No.
So anybody who doesn't know, I work in the grocery industry. We both work in the grocery industry. I work at head office and I work in the bakery, and all of our pre-booked pumpkin pies arrived at our vendor's warehouse completely thawed and crushed. The truck driver who brought it across from the States turned his reefer off at the border for 48 hours. So
it seems like a smart thing to do.
$15,000 in losses.
Jesus.
Yep. Not good.
Did the driver not understand that he was carrying pie? It's all he can do is laugh.
So needless to say, it's pretty hard to find $15,000 worth of pie for Thanksgiving during a huge labor and ingredient shortage.
Yeah.
With like 2 weeks before Thanksgiving.
I was going to say about 11 days, yeah.
So I think we had booked somewhere like 1,000 and something cases, and I found someone that could make like 25%. And I'm like, okay, I guess we don't have pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving. Great. But I'm at the point now where
you know what? Thanksgiving sucks. I'm going to say it. B, pumpkin pie sucks.
This is probably...
pie sucks in general.
I don't agree with you. But it's funny because a lot of people don't understand what we're talking about, really, because I bet you a lot of people here are American and they have Thanksgiving later. So it's probably weird for them to be like, you got lots of time still.
No. Canadian Thanksgiving is what, October 11th? I think.
Yeah. I think it dances around a bit, but yes, usually it is around
the second week of October.
Yeah. So, yeah, we have a lot to talk about tonight.
We have so much to talk about, and it's your last episode for a few weeks, so...
It is my last episode.
We got to cover everything.
If you do a live, I might be able to come in and chat. I just don't really... I won't be able to, talk, because I talk really loud, so it's like...
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing yet, because I was going to pre-record something, and then we didn't do that, and my friends are busy for Thanksgiving weekend, so I haven't really decided what I'm doing yet. I'll figure something out, but we won't miss an episode. If I have to do it alone, I'll do it alone. If I have to, just make my dog dance on camera for 25 minutes,
off and again shuffle.
Yeah, then that's what I'll be doing. I don't know yet, but we'll figure something out, and I won't miss an episode. So I would like to do a James Bond spoiler chat next week, but it's a 3-hour long movie, and if I can fit that in Friday night, I don't know. And like I said, everybody's busy, so I might have to go see it by myself, and that's hard to do a spoiler discussion by yourself. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
That's fair. I won't be seeing James Bond, so if anyone's excited to hear that, it will be without me for sure.
Well, There's literally a movie I want to see every week, I think, until like mid-November. So,
Oh, nice. That's kind of nice.
yeah. Like Halloween comes out after Bonds. Dune comes out the following week.
I want to see Dune for sure.
Then Eternals is like right there too. Yeah, there's a lot. I don't know. So we'll see.
Nice. Well, let's jump into it.
What do you want to start with? What If or Venom? Oh yeah, it's so good, dude. You did such a good job.
Eh?
Yeah, man.
I got the little fun answer on the back too.
Yeah, I love it.
I even did his tats. I even did his tats on his wrists.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's really, really cool. The detail's awesome.
Yeah, I really like it. It turned out good. I can't wait to.
So if anybody has, Mark Hoppus's contact information that they can give to Matt,
that'd be great. Just send it on.
Or just, in the comments below when I post this, just put, at Mark Hoppus, hey, yo, reach out.
I had a few people do that this week in hopes, but
yeah,
we'll see.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
I agree.
I got this week.
Lost and Found. Oh, nice. Minus the bear. Is that they make beer commercials?
No, that's Infinity Overhead, Omni, which is my favorite album, which I could not get forever, and then their B-side album, Lost Loves.
Very cool.
Yeah, they did a bundle.
You're wearing a Minus the Bear shirt too. Did that come with it?
Yeah, they did a bundle with 3 albums and 3 T-shirts, and it was the 3 albums I was missing.
Perfect.
How is that? I don't know why. I'm on the Truman Show apparently, where they do exactly what I needed.
What does something like that cost you?
I think it was $150.
No, that's not bad. 3 shirts,
for 3 albums and 3 shirts.
That's
I'm okay
good.
with that.
Yeah. That's good.
So,
fucking A, man. What did you watch? We could do a quick. What did you watch? I didn't watch a lot this week, so I was busy.
The only thing I really want to pimp out is the show Midnight Mass that I started last week and finished it.
That's great.
After the last podcast, it's absolutely phenomenal. I can't recommend it enough. I've been thinking about it all week. Like it's just really, really good. Don't read up on it. Don't find a plot stop somewhere or anything like that, because there's some surprises within the show that is definitely better not ruined. Okay. It's only 7 episodes. It's I think an hour each episode, but it's only 7 episodes, 1 season. There's not going to be a second season or anything like that. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Really, really good.
I didn't watch anything, I don't think.
Perfect.
I just watched my weekly episodes of Reservation Dogs and Only Murders in the Hotel, or whatever the fuck it's called. It's got the stupidest name, but pretty fun show.
Yeah, it's a really bad name.
Yeah, it's terrible. But it's a good show. It's a really good show. It's starting to get good.
I'll definitely watch it at some point. I just didn't get
eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do have a lot to talk about, so we should just jump right into it. I thought we should maybe start with What If, just because it's kind of what we've been doing, and then anybody who hasn't seen Venom, they can step away. Or to be honest with you guys, you don't have to step away. You're not going to miss anything. We could ruin the whole movie for you, and it's not going to really make it better. So sorry.
It's exactly what you expect.
So this is what we'll say. We'll say, if you want to listen to us shit talk Venom for 45 minutes, stick around, because it is 100% happening.
Oh yeah.
I was texting Ryan during the movie, and I was like, this is fucking garbage.
I don't understand how some of these websites gave it positive reviews.
You know what? This is it though, man. It's like, if you liked Venom 1,
I think Venom 1's a way better film than this.
I do too, but I'm saying if you like Venom 1, you shouldn't really have a ton of problems with this, because it's basically just Venom 1, all the bad things about Venom 1 magnified, which I know some people like, so that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But it's that to me, that's what it was. It's like everything that drove me crazy about Venom in Venom 1 was 10 times more loud this time. And then it's all the stuff that was cool about Venom in the first one was diminished this time. Yeah. And I was like, they kind of went the other way. But yeah.
I agree with you.
But we could start right there, but we should stop, because we'll get into the savior.
We'll get into it after What If.
We'll get into the savior of the week first.
Yes. What If episode 8. So spoilers if you haven't watched What If episode 8, but we're gonna dive into the full episode. I loved it. I think it's the best episode by far of the season. Yeah.
Well, in fairness, it kind of had something to take away from last week too, right? So that kind of gives it a boost for both of us. I think we both spent the last couple of weeks talking about our dislike for how it doesn't really have any like long-standing effects. You just get to know the characters and then that's it, right? So.
Well, not just that, but it's exactly what we were talking about, how it had to tie into the MCU some way. It had to be a cohesive storyline at some point of all these cliffhangers they were building towards.
Yeah.
And it had to have some kind of like actual conclusive end to the series, and it built towards all of that. Like,
yeah.
It was awesome, and I'm very, very curious how it carries into the rest of the MCU. Like, I hope that we get a live action version of the Watcher or whatever. Like, I think it was awesome.
Yeah, that whole thing with Watcher and Ultron. So the episode this week, for if we're spoiling it for anybody, which I'm sure there are people who come here to get spoiled, maybe not fully intentionally, but
sure.
But yeah, this week's was What If Ultron won Age of Ultron or whatever, right? I don't know if that's the exact thing.
Well,
but
it was basically a continuation of last week where Ultron basically becomes like the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah. But this is the episode where we actually got to see that all play out, right? Last week we just saw a threat. This week we get a story about that threat.
Yeah, it was if Ultron won the Age of Ultron, like Avengers 2 movie, but also if it carried on into, you know, the Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity War and how that would change the universe and everything like that. But it also broke, you know, the fourth wall where, you know, we're getting into multiversal stuff. We're getting the Watcher as an actual character within the episode rather than just the voiceover, you know, intro type thing where all of a sudden he's now an actual live character fighting Ultron at points. Like, the story mostly revolved around Hawkeye and Black Widow, but it was really, really well done. Like, outside of, again, I think the voice acting is kind of hit and miss in parts, but yeah, it's great to see this actually carry on into the MCU. Like, I can't wait to see how this ends and what ramifications will come of it.
Me too.
Maybe the Eternals or Doctor Strange too.
Karis says cool things in the background. Thanks. This is my collection.
They are cool things.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, man, like, I thought that version of Ultron was awesome, was like so fucking cool. And I thought, I don't know, I thought the voice acting was okay. I actually quite like the person who's playing Black Widow. I'm not sure who that is, but I like it. It works for me.
Black Widow was actually, I feel, done better than Hawkeye was.
Which is weird because Hawkeye was actually
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
I did like that we got to see the early version of Hawkeye Endgame haircut.
Yeah.
Kind of got like the big fluffy thing on the top. We just don't have it like the rat tail down the back, which is kind of good, I guess. But yeah, I thought that scene where we were seeing the Watcher like contemplating like, do I step in? Do I give a hand? So they're in like a Hydra base looking for or in some kind of a military base looking for a clue to basically how to stop Ultron, and their idea is to get that last version of Aaron Zolo or whatever his name is, Arnim Zolo or whatever.
Arnim, yeah.
And they basically kind of go in and like start chatting with him as like the computer version, you know, like from the movies, and he's like starts saying like, "Oh, I have this master plan," and they're like, "Yeah, like, yeah, we know that. We don't have time for this right now."
Yeah. It still had the comedic chops of like him thinking he's in control and not having a clue of what's going on outside of the bunker and everything like that.
Hi, Ron. Ron's here. This is my friend Ron. Rono.
Hey, what's up, Ron?
He's here for Venom talk. You have to listen to us talk about What If first.
That and like I love like basically seeing the world get devastated by nuclear war. Like the fact that like the Avengers couldn't stop it, they're figuring out a way to stop it, and then it's too late, and like Ultron wins is like pretty badass.
It's not something
badass.
you ever see in the MCU where the heroes don't win, you know?
Yeah. It was cool to see how quick of work he made of everyone too, right? Like it really showcased that, because I know a lot of people at the time of Age of Ultron had a huge issue with how Ultron was handled, just because he was kind of like a throwaway bad guy, right? And it's like, really, that's a character that has so much potential. You can do so many cool different things with that character, and I do agree he was just like a robot bad guy that like.
Well, we're seeing them rectify all the bad movies, right?
Totally.
Like every single time they do a series, it seems like there's a flashback in it to one of the bad MCU movies, and them going, "Oh, let's make this cooler. Let's make this actually matter. We know we fucked this up. Let's figure out how we can fix it." They're doing it with Shang-Chi. Like they made
Trevor.
I the Mandarin just awesome, and I don't know. I really liked how it was done. I liked how it was filmed. I liked how it was shot. It looked cool. The animation was cool. It was funny too at parts. Like, I mean, even just like seeing Thanos, step in through the portal and just getting immediately cut in half. I was like, holy shit! Like, it was a 2-second scene, and it was just cool. It looked awesome.
It makes you wonder if Vision could have just done that in Infinity War.
Yeah. There was a few times where I kind of was like, oh, like, why didn't Vision do that? And then after the whole nuclear fallout thing, I'm like, so how did Hawkeye and Black Widow survive that?
Yeah.
I didn't really understand that aspect of it, but obviously I mean, I assume that next week's is like a continuation of this episode again and kind of finalizes whatever arc they're leading towards.
I'm pretty sure next week is a continuation. I'm pretty sure they've said so.
Yeah, so clearly they're setting up a multiversal thing, which I mean, I would not be shocked if if this was setting up the Eternals in some way. Like, wouldn't surprise me at all. Because that's why the Eternals are stepping in, is because of all this multiversal shit.
Maybe. The thing is with the multiverse, it seems like a lot of these upcoming movies are based around it. So there's going to have to be something that eventually stops that from being a thing, because that's going to become just their immediate fallback that fixes everything. And I feel like that long term could be exhausting. So I feel like we're going to have to see multiverse for a bit now, and then they're going to do something where they kind of close it off or something and stop that.
Well, my assumption is after probably Doctor Strange, it'll be the end of the multiverse stuff, and all the multiverse stuff will be into one universe. Like, they can't carry it on for too long. They have to tie all the universes in together.
I agree with you.
And we'll get to the Venom thing in a minute, but like clearly they're setting up that these universes are starting to collide, and I think that's the smart way to handle it. Like, I think that's how you bring in X-Men and Fantastic Four is. These heroes existed in another universe, and this is how you escape having to do an origin story for characters you already know their origins for. Is you already know what happened to them in the past. You already know how Wolverine is Wolverine, so on and so forth.
Yep.
We're not gonna give you the origin story of Wolverine for the third time or whatever.
They're gonna Spider-Man it.
Yes, exactly. Like, he's coming in from another universe, and here we go. We're already got the ball rolling down the hill. Let's just carry on from there.
You know what this story is like? We're just gonna fucking, here's Spidey, here's the X-Men, hopefully. But yeah, that'd be great.
Right, and then 10 years from now, if you want to do what they did with Black Widow and have like a prequel movie that explains a little more of the character's background or whatever like that, then you can do that. But let's get the ball rolling first, and let's get these X-Men or Fantastic Four into a movie and skip the 35 minutes of dialogue to introduce them and just get into the movie.
Yeah, I agree. We can have a vague overview of how they got there and what their powers are and how it's different, but yeah. Hydrastic Plastic, that's a great name.
It's a great name.
But yeah, I really liked this What If. It was fucking really good. And like I thought the fight between Ultron and Watcher was like was so good.
Do you think we're gonna get Watcher? I think we're gonna get Watcher.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
In a movie? Like as a live action?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know where that would fit. I feel like that's kind of a big thing to just be like, here's the Watcher. But maybe he kind of becomes one of those things that's like a Stan Lee where you see him in every episode and he doesn't even have to really do anything. He's just kind of in the background looking kind of thing, right? It would be cool to see.
I'm just thinking if he's breaking the rules now to interfere with what's going on, like maybe he becomes like a full-blown character where...
Oh, totally. It's a possibility.
He steps in, like they can get Jeffrey Wright to actually act as the actor for Watcher, and then he's stepping in, going like, "Hey, I like, you know, let's say Galactus is the next villain or whatever the case may be. I have to step in and help them." And then you got the Eternals and Watcher and like, you know, whatever's left of the Avengers at that point.
Yeah,
kind of take over.
mean,
you know.
Maybe he's the character he's playing in this show is very, very much so what he is in the comics. He is an observer, but he has stepped in at points where something catastrophic could happen. But he's not
like
supposed
Galactus,
to,
right?
Like Galactus. Speaking of Galactus, that imagery of Vision Ultron eating that planet, eating Ego, I think it was, right?
Yeah, it was Ego
or whatever.
I think
that was very Galactus. I was just like, damn, that even looks like Galactus with the big thing on the side of the head. And
yeah. I cut you off. I'm sorry. You were trying to say something before that, but
that's what I was trying to say. That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
I was going to mention. I was going to kick back to when you had said Galactus, and then you just said it again, so it worked. That was completely we didn't practice that. That's right. It was so smooth. Just a smooth.
Like we practice anything here. Come on.
Hey, we practice all the time.
Yeah.
Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather.
I got a script right here of everything Matt's going to say. It's all figured out.
Matt drinks bubbly.
No. Yeah. I don't have one this week. I'm sorry. I'm drinking a fucking margarita, so.
That sounds like a better time if I'm being honest.
Yeah, well, when you work in the grocery industry, you need a lot of alcohol.
I get it. And I'm very relatable.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I'm very excited to see how it ends. I'm bummed that we won't be able to talk about it next week.
I know. That makes me sad.
But when you're back, we'll definitely have a full discussion about the last episode of What If. And
hopefully we'll be able to say like how much everything ties in, because like that's kind of my hope for next week is like, you know, we just saw him jump from place to place to place in the main timeline, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I didn't realize I could go to other timelines. There's lots of stuff to destroy now. So it makes me wonder if we're going to start seeing him like show up in all of these previous episodes and be like, hello, here I am. And maybe that's going to be the reason why all these heroes unite together. And you know, wonder what that team is going to look like, though. Like, I'm curious to know, like, are we going to see? I feel like Captain Carter is a guarantee. I feel like T'Challa, Star-Lord is probably a guarantee. You know, what else do you think? Do you think we can maybe get Bro Thor in there too? Maybe Party Thor?
Party Thor.
I wonder where Gamora shows up too. Wasn't there?
What's that?
There was a picture of Gamora in Thanos armor with the double-bladed dagger. You know that little dagger she has that she balances? I think it's like a double-bladed version of it. I thought I saw an image of that. I wonder if that's going to show up next week or where that even would fit in.
Yeah. I feel like there'll be background characters in the episode at minimum, but I think the main like Avengers cast or whatever will probably have what we already said, and then maybe Killmonger as Black Panther.
Oh yeah, maybe.
And that would be interesting
was kind
to
of
see.
The bad guy. I feel I didn't get the vibe of the good guy there. I got very bad guy vibes, so I don't know if he would show up. I don't know.
It would be interesting though to see him and T'Challa talk, right?
That would be cool, and it would be interesting to see. Maybe he uses this as a reason to kind of redeem himself. Maybe he realizes like what he's doing is like he has a power that, you know, he's responsible to like, you know, do more, right?
Yeah, and then maybe also actually seeing fucking God, I'm so bad with stuff. The end of that second episode where Black Panther becomes, or T'Challa becomes Star-Lord. Fucking we see like Star-Lord or our Star-Lord on Earth.
Oh, right. At, like, Quill. Right. Whatever happened with that? Nothing. We didn't
like a Taco Bell, or I can't remember what he was doing.
It was a Dairy
Queen. Like working at, what's
that? Dairy Queen.
Yeah. So like maybe they bring that back somehow where he's somewhat of a character in this too. I don't know.
Yeah, that would make sense. I'm so interested to see what next week is going to bring, especially if there's any chance that it does tie up some loose ends from earlier in the season. Like I would ultimately love to be like, oh, that's where they were going with that. Like it'd be great. It would be great to get resolution on because it's not every episode that ends on a cliffhanger, but like half of them do at least.
Pretty much, yeah.
You know, and most of them do end on like some sort of a cliffhanger. It may not be like dire, but it's like there's more story to be told pretty much at the end of every one.
No, totally.
So
yeah, no, it was really good. I like I said, I can't wait for next week, and then we got what, like 3 or 4 weeks in between that and Eternals, so should be good.
We can do we'll think of some stuff to do.
Yeah,
I still think we should do a Kenny versus Benny one. I know a lot of people don't know Kenny versus Benny, but maybe they'll get into Kenny versus Benny because of us.
Yeah, no, I mean, everybody should be watching Kenny versus Benny. You're stupid.
So good.
I don't think, I mean, outside of Canada, I don't know how popular that show ever really got.
I don't think it's that popular.
I mean, I know it aired in the States, but I don't know if it ever got like wild acclaim or anything like that.
Yes. It's kind of like Nathan For You. You ever seen Nathan For You?
No.
Yeah. So it was on Showcase too, I think. So it was like not really a big show.
Enough.
But it's this guy who like went to business school. His joke, he's super dry, right? So it's like he goes to business school and his thing is he's like, businesses are struggling. So they come to me because I have a business degree. And he comes up with like all these stupid ideas, but he like presents them totally seriously. Like it's a reality show. So it's like This one guy has a car wash and it's like super dead. So like at a stoplight that kind of like is like a turn off from where he is, he puts like 18 birds in a tree above a light and feeds them laxatives, and it's like a peacock, chickens, and they're like taking these massive shits on people's car, and then somebody else is standing on the corner to like give them a coupon to like go. So
that's smart marketing.
It's so stupid, man, but it's funny.
It's like the thing straight out of Step Brothers when he's like, we're putting in the man hours to figure out science and things. We put liquid paper on a bee and it died.
That's great. I love that whole scene in Step Brothers where they're interviewing.
So
and tuxedo. Are you guys wearing tuxedos?
We'll be interviewing as a team.
And then at the end, he's like, "This is making more sense now."
Yeah, it is a little fucked up now that I think about it.
That's so funny. Okay, so What If was great. I liked it.
What If was great. We recommend it.
I know it was your favorite. I think it was my favorite too, to be honest.
Yeah, it was real good.
It's lots of fun. Can't wait to see next week. But I'm not going to lie. I have been so excited to talk about Venom with you just because we haven't spoken other than all I got from Ryan today. So Ryan saw it today. I saw it yesterday. And all I got from Ryan today was that was fucking dog shit.
So Venom 2 spoilers. We're diving in now. So if you have not seen Venom 2 or Let There Be Carnage, yeah. Stop here, come back. We're 33 minutes in or 30 minutes in, whatever the hell it is. Come back and pick it up here. But you're not gonna miss much because the movie was fucking awful. Like
so bad.
I don't understand how this movie got any positive reviews at all because the dialogue.
I don't get it.
The dialogue could have been written by a 5-year-old. It was bad. Beyond bad. Like
it was cheesier than the Raimi Spider-Man dialogue, and that's
way worse. Way worse.
Like it's like so bad.
It's the worst superhero movie. It's on par with like probably like
New Mutants?
Elektra and Batman and Robin and like that level of dialogue where I'm like, who wrote this? Like, I don't understand how anybody looked at this script and was like, yeah, we can do this. Like,
yeah, it was so bad. So bad. Cheesy
line after cheesy line, like to the point where I was literally like eye rolling at the screen.
Me too.
The wardrobe choices, like why would they ever have fucking put Carnage in what he's wearing?
I don't think a lot of people realize the picture that I posted yesterday, but for anybody who didn't see my Instagram story, it is a little blurry. This is what they dress Carnage in when he's not
the entire movie.
He literally is a 90s stereotypical pimp.
Like, it is a wardrobe straight out of like 1993. Like, why? Like, I know that they're basing it off of like a comic storyline, but it's just like, man, have you guys learned nothing from the last 20 years of comic book movies? Like, it's just bad and like so paint by numbers story wise. Like, we get the intro of the movie is basically like a young fucking
Cletus.
What's his fucking name?
Cletus Cassidy.
Cletus. I can't think because I hated the movie so fucking much. We get a young him with basically who's going to become fucking Siren, and they're in like an insane asylum together.
Not Siren. Shriek.
Sorry, it doesn't matter. You could call her anything.
It doesn't matter.
She's barely in the movie to begin with.
Yeah, her whole thing's something, but
it's just like the most paint by numbers thing of like, why is she even in the movie? Like, it really had her whole storyline had really no input on the actual storyline of the movie.
It didn't really have input, but it did give Carnage drive. The problem was like all of it was so hard to buy. Like
they hadn't seen each other since they were like 15.
Even not that, like, take that out of the equation, and it's like they had no chemistry, like
zero chemistry.
And like I had such a hard time being like, oh, Cletus is a kid and he's in the insane asylum for kids and the girl's there, and oh, we're gonna remove the girl because her powers are getting too strong. So what do? They just throw her in a truck, no cuffs, no straitjacket, no restraints, just her and some dude. And they just said that she's too dangerous to keep in the regular insane asylum, so they have to bring her to the one with more people that have powers. And it's just like, okay, like
it was like an X-Men ripoff.
With her powers, even if they would have bound her up, they wouldn't have had to figure out a way to explain that because she could just use her powers and get out of it. Like,
here's an idea. Put a fucking muzzle on her so she can't scream. Problem solved. But no, we're going to put her in a glass cage where she can still scream, but we're going to put earplugs in so she can't hurt our ears.
Oh, man. And it was just like, even as they were kind of keeping her in the loop with what was happening with Cletus, like, fast forwards 15 years, and it's like Cletus and her haven't seen each other since they're like little kids or whatever. And then
but she looks like she's 27 and Cletus looks like he's 55.
I know, which is also weird, but that also is something else. I'll talk about that later too. But it's weird because then like the doctor will come in that's treating Shriek, and she'll be like, oh, it's not a good day for your boyfriend today. It's like they haven't seen each other in fucking 15 years. Like, what the fuck? How would you even know that? Like, it's just
not just that, but what fucking psychiatric doctor would do that to a patient? Why is a psychiatric doctor taunting her and being like, hey, you piece of shit, your boyfriend's a fucking piece of shit too.
He's gonna die today, motherfucker.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, this person is crazy. That's not gonna hurt them at all. Like, let's make them more crazy.
Man.
What were they trying to achieve with this psychiatric ward full of power people? Like, it didn't make any sense. They never even... Why does this place exist? Why are all these people here? What are they trying to do? Are they researching against them? How are they researching against them? There's no explanation. There's just like, hey, we got a bunch of people here. Don't bet you can't break out, you little piece of shit. And then they break out and you're like, oh, they broke out. Weird.
I love the other thing is like, I love at the end, she just gets this rant. She doesn't even mention really the guy. So in the movie, when she escapes, when she's a kid, the cop that she's like screaming and the cop's like losing his ears or like bleeding or whatever, and then like to stop her he just like point blank shoots her in the face with a gun. And classic cop. Well, I guess depends where you're at. But yeah, and then like out of nowhere at the end she just gets this thing where she's like, I'm going to get revenge on the cop that took my eye. I'm like, where did that fucking come from? Honestly?
Never talked about once the entire movie. And then all of a sudden, that's her whole story arc.
It's like, Carnage, you get Venom. Cletus gets Eddie. And she's like, and I get the cop that shot my eye. I'm like, what? Like, what the fuck?
But not just that, like, the cop had basically no role in the movie other than, hey, I had an experience once where she screamed at me and I went deaf in one ear. And he's a dickhead to Eddie most of the movie. There's not really like a whole explanation of the relationship in any real way.
No.
And then on top of that, like, Eddie's, I don't know, his whole relationship with Venom is just like borderline nonsensical.
We need to hold off. We aren't done ranting about the side characters.
Okay.
Once we start down Venom himself, we are never, it's never going to stop. So we need to.
I'll say the best part of the movie was like Carnage and Venom looked good. But other than that, I don't think I have a positive thing to say about the movie.
I actually didn't really like Carnage. Like, I always kind of base movie looks off of like, if an action figure came out tomorrow, would I buy it? And I don't think I would buy the movie Carnage because I didn't find him like he was too much. He's not like I know movies are not the comics and I know that, but it's like, you know, I like Venom and I like how Venom looks. Carnage is like, generally speaking in the comics, Carnage is smaller than him. He's like more Spider-Man size. He's scrawnier. He's not so buff and he's not so bulked out. Where this one was like, he was skinnier than Venom, but he was like super tall and like...
Yeah, he's way taller.
And again, like the same situation happened with Riot last time, or Ricochet, or whoever the bad guy was.
Riot. Yeah, it was Riot.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And it's just like, it's the same. You get this guy, he looks pretty much just like Venom, except he's a different color. And, oh, now he's got tentacles coming out of his back. Oh, where did we see that before? That's weird. And then it's just like, oh, I'm going to turn my hands into axes and harpoons. Oh, cool. We haven't seen that before either. It's just like, it's literally like Venom 1, but worse.
Everything about it, yeah. Like, I mean, even Woody Harrelson doesn't really have a story arc. Like, he's a murderer.
And even that whole thing about how he wants to be friends with Eddie, like, none of that makes any sense. There's no there's no grounds for any of that. Like, it's just, he's like, all I wanted was to be your friend, Eddie. And it's like, okay, what? Like, you're a fucking 50-year-old murderer, and he's like a 40-year-old news guy. Like, why would you even? Why? Like,
yeah, I 100% agree.
And another person I would love to complain about is Michelle Williams again. Like, at least this time she showed up. Like, I always say, like the last one, it's like she was just reading. Like, she didn't even act. Like, the whole.
But she was again barely in the movie.
And she's a good actor. So last time when she was in it, I was like, wow, this is a huge, like, talk about phoning it in. At least this time, she was better as an actor. But like, it was so not necessary, any of it. Like,
there's no reason for her to be even in the movie.
I agree.
I mean, they needed somebody to be Eddie's friend, but Eddie just treats everybody like a piece of shit. So why you'd want to be Eddie's friend, I don't really understand.
I guess they needed him to have something to give a shit about at the end. I guess is probably what they needed. Ryan's going to take his pants off. He'll be back
right now.
What's that?
My dog's being an asshole.
I thought you said my dog's taking a shit right now.
No, he's trying to pull my jacket off the wall, and I'm not happy about it. No, I don't understand why she's still in the movie. She was in the movie for all of, I don't know, a dozen
7 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, really, like, she keeps playing this, like, will they, won't they get back together with Eddie?
Yeah.
But like, she's also engaged to another dude, and it just makes her character even seem like a piece of shit. Like,
yeah,
you're like openly flirting with Eddie, but you're engaged.
She didn't even seem like the same character from the last movie.
No. Either did the Doctor.
No, the Doctor was like total comedy man this time. It was weird.
Well, not just that, but like in the first movie, he's like actually out to like help Eddie, and he's like, hey, you have a parasite in you. Like, I want to help you. Like, I'm putting you in fucking CAT scans and like trying to figure out what's wrong with you. He knows that there's a fucking parasite in him. He sees Venom multiple times in the movie. And then this one, he's like, I don't want to fuck with aliens anymore. Like, he doesn't even, like, he acts like he doesn't even understand what's going on half the movie. Like, I don't know. His character just completely, like, flipped, and it just, I don't know. It's so bad.
It's funny because that one scene where Michelle and Dr. Dude go into the little food place with the little Asian woman who runs it, Mrs. Chang or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like she immediately recognizes that Venom. So at some point, for anybody who is just listening to us talk and hasn't seen it, at one point in the movie, the symbiote decides to leave Eddie and go out on his own, and he goes to a rave, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes too.
But I forgot about that scene until right now.
The symbiote finds its way to Mrs. Chang and like basically dies on the floor, and then she's like, "Oh, Venom, you need chocolate." So then she like gives him chocolate, and then like the Venom goes on to her. But she's like talking all normal, and then Michelle Williams' character comes in and she starts talking. Have you seen? I'm looking for Venom, which is so weird to say. Why would you say that to some random person? And then all of a sudden she realizes that it is Venom, and she's like flirting with Venom or whatever. And it's just like, what are you like? What?
And her fiance is standing behind her,
right behind her,
and she's like,
and then as it's happening, I'm like, let me guess, she's going to get the symbiote and bring it back to Eddie. Yep, sure enough, just like the first time. Why would they change any? And it's like, it's not even, it's like we already did it the first time, and she literally goes out to find Venom, finds Venom, gets Venom, brings it back to Eddie within like 5 minutes of the movie. And it's like, and
puts her tongue down Eddie's throat.
Yeah, that's
as
right.
Venom or female Venom, whatever. I don't know what her character's name is.
Female Venom, she Venom,
whatever it is.
Whatever
she like makes out with Eddie, where her tongue flies down his throat, basically.
Again, in front of Dr. Fiance.
Yeah, and then like boom, all of a sudden he's Venom again, and I'm like, what was the point of that scene?
He literally wasn't Venom for like 10 minutes. It's like, was that even necessary? Like nothing happened other than Venom going to a rave.
Which we're not making that part of. Venom goes to a full-on gay pride rave.
And gets like the glow stick
like 15 of them glow stick necklaces around him, like he's at fucking Mardi Gras.
Oh man.
And then has a speech on a mic where he literally does a mic drop.
Brutal. Okay, wait, we're gonna go there. Are we done talking about secondary characters? I think, am I don't know. Did you know that the cop is I can't remember the character's real name, but like the character's name, the cop's name, but he is in the comics, he's Venom, or he's Toxin. And yeah, BC, if you haven't seen it, we're shit talking it, so don't, if your intentions are to see it, then don't stick around, because we'll talk you out of it.
We have nothing positive to say about it.
We don't.
That's the end.
What was I going to say? What was I just saying? Oh yeah, so he is a character's name is Toxin in the comics. He's like the son of Carnage, I think, the offspring of Carnage, I think.
I guess that makes sense from like the end scene where he's alive still. The cop is still alive still. I can't remember exactly what happened, but after
Carnage, I don't think anything happens. He's just alive. I think that's it.
Yeah, but didn't he have like a glimmer in his eye or something like that?
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. I mean, there really isn't that many secondary characters in the movie outside of the people we already know from the first movie. The standout character is the Asian convenience store owner. She has like the most actual funny lines probably in the entire movie. And I don't know, she doesn't really do anything, but I'd say she should win MVP of the movie.
It's funny because when we talked tonight, Ryan said that his friend that he went with enjoyed it. And I will say that there were at least a couple moments that I genuinely had a laugh. Like I did laugh. There were some parts that were funny.
I laughed twice, I think, the entire movie.
I think I laughed 3 times, but there wasn't a lot of good.
My friend liked it because he's like, if you look at it as an actual like action like superhero film, it's terrible. But he's like, if you watch it as a comedy, he's like, it's funny. And he's like, you can't take it serious because it's not good. but he's like,
That's
I
a good
enjoyed it.
point.
I laughed the entire time. Like, it's just a comedy movie.
I do feel that we have different opinions on it because we're such comic book movie fans, and because you are a Venom fan too, right?
I love Venom.
Yeah, me too. So,
yeah, I mean, I guess we should talk about Venom as a character.
I guess we should. Yeah. Oh my God, how much time do we have? I'm scared.
Well, we don't need to spend 20 minutes on it.
Yes, we do.
I don't understand how you go from the first movie where everybody was like, that was one of the worst parts of the first movie was the dialogue between Venom and Eddie and how cheesy the dialogue was. And everybody thought like fucking Tom Hardy really like phoned it in and wasn't very good, charismatic Eddie Brock, like in any way. And they just was like, oh yeah, let's double down on that. We're going to make it triple the amount of dialogue between Eddie and Venom. And all the lines are going to be fucking cheesy as shit. And Venom's basically a stand-up comedian now.
Yep. It's literally like if Deadpool was a symbiote. That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Everything is a quirky little thing, and a good chunk of them are misses. Like, they're just like...
Almost all of them.
It's not good. Like, it's almost intolerable. Like, I think I would enjoy that movie if I would have been listening to music in headphones and just watching it. Because, again, like, my things that I loved, I love how Venom looks. I think he looks
I agree.
Fucking great. I feel like his stature is great. He's big. He's imposing. He looks mean. And, like, he looks scary, which I think is great. My biggest issue isn't even like I don't dislike Tom Hardy, but I don't like Tom Hardy. He's just whatever. He's definitely would never be my first pick for Venom. But I don't dislike his performance doesn't make me not like the movie. It entirely has to do with how the character's handled, the writing, and like the slapstick comedy. Like even that beginning when he goes and sees Cletus, which again, like why would that even happen? Like there's no grounds for that to need to happen, but he goes and sees Cletus and he memorizes his wall.
Journalist. I don't know. Like,
remember when he's drawing? When Eddie's like,
no, I know.
Like, let me draw the thing, and he's just like,
yeah. But again, then all of a sudden, Eddie, who has shown no signs of being a complete moron, is looking at these pictures, going, "I don't get it." Next, then he draws another one. I don't get it. And it's like, you're a fucking journalist who apparently has done many fucking, I don't know, journalistic writings or investigations of some sort. Yep. And now all of a sudden you have zero idea of why he's drawing these pictures, even though you just stared at the wall the scene before and saw all these within his prison cell and didn't clue in. Like, it just wasn't. If they wanted to do like a murder mystery thing, it could have actually been like an actual investigation where like he's picking up pieces and getting little informations, and he like almost Silence of the Lamb-esque where he's visiting, the prison and having dialogue with him and then like learning more about his crimes and then piecing it together throughout the movie. But it was like, hey, we need a reason for Eddie to be in the prison and for Carnage to become Carnage and Eddie to get his career back, which again, he doesn't use anything career-wise in the fucking film.
He literally could have not even had a job in that whole movie, and it wouldn't have made a difference. So the fact that was such a huge plot point at the beginning really didn't make sense either. But.
Yeah, it didn't matter. Like, he solved where the bodies were.
He put his victims,
great. It was, we didn't know any of the victims. We had no emotional attachment to the crimes or the victims. Yep. We don't even know the killer in any real way outside of a scene at the end of the last movie and him talking to Eddie for 3 minutes. Like, there was no build up to that. There was no like, aha, he solved the case. It was like 12 minutes into the movie.
Yep. That's pretty much it. A case that didn't even matter 12 minutes prior was solved. And it's just like, and then it's stupid because he's like, oh, well, Cletus is getting the death penalty. And he's like, I guess I should go. Like, I kind of gave it to him. It's like,
why?
Says who? Whoever said that? Like, hey, this criminal's going to get the chair because you discovered something that put him there like he should be.
Okay, so
like,
this is what I mean.
Let's go
like,
and watch.
like spin-off storyline here is, wouldn't this movie have been way better if we found out in the first movie, like, Michelle, whatever the actress that plays his love interest, fucking, we find out like her mother or her father had died from a murderer. We didn't get the details, anything like that. And that is part of her story arc in the first movie, is her emotional, issues with losing a parent from a serial killer. And that, her and Eddie's relationship, that's kind of how they fell in love, was Eddie wrote a piece on an unsolved case about, this like beautiful woman's,
Amazing.
Right. Like, they could have built a whole storyline off of that. And then through this, he finds out that they suspect that,
Cletus was
he was a serial killer, like that he was the one responsible. So he's investigating this case for the girl that he wants to win back, to maybe see if that will be the thing that drives them back together. And so throughout the entire movie, he's trying to piece together the case. And then the whole crux of the movie at the end is he finally solves it and he finds all the bodies and everything like that. But no, instead of that, we have zero emotional attachment to any of the characters. We have no reason to care about them solving this case because we don't know any of the victims. And there's a whole 3-second scene with the cops scouring this hilly, I don't know, side of a mountain, finding bodies and going, hey, Eddie solved the case and he's back in fucking power. Like,
again, who stands on the scene of a humongous murder scene and says,
as a reporter,
and says,
like, I understand if he was actually writing a piece about it.
He's back on top.
Right. And then on top of that, like, he's just like, oh, because I solved this case of a horrific serial killer, I should probably go to where he's getting lethally injected with fucking whatever to kill him. And I'm like, unless, again, you were writing a piece on like, hey, this is, I need to be there because, you know, the newspaper wants an article written about, you know, whatever, or the impact on the actual victims or anything like that. But no, it's just swept over again. Like, well, no reason to be here. We needed a reason for him to turn into Carnage. So boom, he's dying. And then boom, out comes the Carnage. Like, it's the most generic, badly written film I've seen in a long fucking time.
Is
when I can write a better fucking film than these people did, there's a problem, because I'm not a writer. I'm not getting paid to do this.
Yeah, it was like eye rolling. Like, I was by myself, and I can't tell you how many times I was just muttering to myself, like, this is unbelievable. Like, this is just,
And like, we haven't even talked about like the whole like Venom leaving Eddie for, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the movie, and it's like,
tops.
There's no reason for it. Like, I understand that Eddie and Venom have these like opposite views on where Venom just wants to bite everybody's heads off, which fine, fair enough. And Eddie doesn't want him to do that. But like, you were fine with it in the first movie. You were totally cool with it. And at the end of the movie, you're like, yeah, we can bite the villains' heads off. And then all of a sudden he's like, no, we need to protect the people that are robbing a lady's purse down a fucking alleyway. Like, when all of a sudden did you grow a conscience and become good in certain aspects, and then 10 minutes later you're completely opposite?
Like, to me, that whole like separation thing, it was just like, you know, like the other thing I didn't like was like the whole like breakfast thing where Eddie was making Eddie breakfast or whatever, and it's like
terrible.
Just Eddie sitting at a table, and then like 4 tendrils coming from his back, and they're like throwing food against the wall and like putting weird shit in a blender and turning it on, and then all of a sudden he just throws this giant pile of food on the table like it's some like cereal commercial from the fucking 90s, and it's just like,
that's exactly what it was.
And I'm just like, what the fuck is this?
Tonally, it doesn't even make sense in the movie. It's like 1 minute they want it to be like a PG comedy movie for kids, and then the next scene they want it to be like a hard R, graphic, violent, you know, horror film, and then they go back, like, there's no balance, there's no tone to the movie. It's like slapstick comedy, and then it's fucking murder the next scene.
I will say though that I don't think a rated R rating would have done anything to save this.
No, it's the script.
Yeah, like, I mean, even the action, because the thing is like, one of the biggest disappointments I have from this movie was I was kind of hoping at least I'd see more Venom in action movie in the movie, but like really, we only see Venom like fighting in the last scene. Really, I think there's maybe a couple little spots where he like stops something, like when he stops that guy, the guy from getting the girl or whatever.
But he doesn't fight in that movie.
I know he doesn't. Not really, I guess. But
he grabs the guy with one of his fucking tentacles and then hangs him upside down and wants to bite off his head. That's the entire action scene. Like, but it's just there's like, way more action in the first movie than there is in this one.
Yes, there is a lot more action in the first one, and that was the thing I was disappointed by.
The whole motorcycle chase in the first movie where he's like gripping lampposts and bending corners and shit like that. I'm like, that's what this movie needed, more of like some cool, not the same scene, but some cool like car chase, you know, cool action scenes like that, where it's like, we're really seeing Venom like help out Tom Hardy as he's escaping something or doing something or chasing down a villain or whatever the case may be. But it was
the thing is, in that circumstance, like if it's that close, like just turn into Venom. Like, turn into Venom and turn around and fuck him up. Like, game, it's done. Then it's done. There's no risk. There's no issues. Like, and that's the thing I don't get is like, the coolest thing about Venom is that he's broody and he's big and he's fucking mean and like we don't get that. We get party Thor. We get party Venom. Like, he goes to a rave. He has like this like emotional. With chickens. Yeah, he becomes friends with chickens. It's like. Oh, I just seen a message come down from my friend D. He just said, it's an Instagram message, and it said, I totally forgot that part where Carnage turns into a tornado.
Yeah. It's so bad that there's scenes that I literally like blocked out of my mind, like it's trauma from childhood. Like I seen the movie fucking 2 hours ago and I want to forget it. Like
go ahead.
No, that whole scene, I'm like, why is Carnage a tornado to eat somebody? Like, because I assume because it was too graphic and they didn't want to get an R rating, so they covered it up with a tornado. I don't know. I have no other explanation.
When did Carnage have the ability to turn into a tornado?
I wasn't aware of that. Maybe that's a part of the comics. I don't know.
The funnier part was it wasn't even like a symbiote tornado. Like it wasn't even like a red gooey tornado. It was just a tornado. Like
it looked like a twister.
He started spinning around, and then all of a sudden, like Twister shows up, and it's just like, hey, I'm a tornado in a jail.
But okay, too, like during that scene before that, he has his girl fucking up in the car, like held on by all his tendrils and shit like that, so she doesn't get shot. Yep. But then the next scene, the cops are shooting. There's like 16 cops shooting full on at the car, and it's not like he's protecting the bullets in her in any real way. Like, how did she not get shot? She has no powers other than screaming.
They're stormtroopers. It's the only explanation.
It was just at every turn, the movie disappointed me more and more to the point where I'm like, I don't understand how you can go from the first film where everybody was like, hey, this is the good parts of this film and everything else is really, really badly done. And then go, we're going to double down on all the shit that people hated and lessen all the like cool action scenes where Venom looks good.
Yep. I will say I'm appreciative that this time the black symbiote versus black symbiote fight from the first one that happened in the dark, which, was also a great idea on their behalf.
No.
I'm happy to see that this one's black symbiote versus red symbiote was done in dim lighting rather than the dark, which was appreciated.
Yeah, I mean...
That being said, it was still a CGI spaghetti fight. It was still the same thing. It was just spaghetti is coming off everywhere. Everyone's getting them, and Venom gets them going through, and Carnage gets them going through. And
my argument on that is like apparently that's why they got fucking Andy Serkis to direct it, was because of all his work in like well done CGI and motion capture and everything like that. And I'll say like I like the look of the characters, but yeah, that fight scene needed to be zoomed out way back so you could actually see these characters fighting. And there's a few scenes where you do see them like full on fighting, but for the majority of the fight scene is you're just seeing tentacles overlapping each other, red and black, And it's like, you don't even really know what's happening for the most part. And then you have Dr. Dude pouring fire down on Carnage, and like that's his whole purpose of the movie. Yep. And it's like, well, thanks, Doc. Like, even like the scream, the sound frequency that bothers the symbiotes, like, it was just like, oh, so Siren. Oh, I want to keep calling her Siren, and it's gonna drive me insane. Shriek. I know. Like that was their whole plan of like a Romeo and Juliet romance, is like Shriek can scream real loud, and so her frequency of her voice is really gonna bother Carnage, but they're this romantic couple, and I'm like, okay. So immediately upon them getting back together, he yells at her, the person he loves most, about, hey, don't ever fucking use your voice again because that bothers me. I'm like, what a romantic pairing. Like, look at the fucking chemistry between these actors. He's screaming at her after not seeing her for 15 years, and the whole the whole point of the movie is them getting back together. Like, okay.
I think that was to show that. Okay, so what I got from that was, it showed me that Cletus realized that he's not in full control of Carnage at that point. But that being said, it doesn't matter, because when he
why are we trying to redeem a murderer?
Well, that too, but also it doesn't even matter, because later on when he loses the symbiote at the end, he's trying to reach for it to get it back. So it's like, it's not even like he sees what it does to him and he's like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm going to hurt the woman I love. He doesn't even care. That whole part is completely irrelevant. Like, it doesn't even matter.
Like 100%. But again, he's painted the entire first part of the movie as this like brutal murderer who's sadistic and fucking crazy. And then you're trying to make him have redeeming characters of like, well, he does love her though. So, you know, that's his redeeming quality, is he wants this romantic pairing. He wants the thing he could never have in life, is love. But then instantly, as soon as he gets the love, he's like, oh no, fuck you, bitch. Like, don't scream anymore. I'm like, oh, what a good dude. I want to root for him. And then like, yeah, like you're saying, at the end of the movie, after he realizes that he's not in charge of Carnage, and Carnage is basically ready to murder the person he loves most, he falls 637 stories down a building, fucking lands, and then is still reaching out for Carnage to save his body so he can heal. And I'm like, so you learn nothing this entire movie. You're just a piece of shit. Still.
Yeah. Hey, remember that part where Eddie discovers that Carnage is going to go looking for Shriek by going to the orphanage or the insane asylum that they lived at when they were kids, and he sees their initials carved into a tree with a heart around it? I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because you know how often at psych wards, how they let their inmates run around the grounds that's not properly fenced in with knives to carve into trees? That happens all the time. I love going to the local jail and handing out knives to all the inmates and saying, hey, go carve up the front yard.
Guys, we're going to let you out, but the only thing we want you to do is to carve your initials of the person you love into a tree with a heart around it. That's it.
This is part of your rehabilitation, is we want to hand you knives and let you carve up things on the ground.
I didn't even think about that part of it. I just saw that part and I'm like, this is so fucking stupid. And then I didn't even think, why would sane people be outside of the insane asylum, outside of the grounds with a knife?
Yeah. Hey, these are sadistic murderers. Let them outside with a knife and let them carve up a tree.
They're fine. Just put a leash on them.
Fine. Put a leash on them.
Oh my God.
It's just nonsensical. The entire movie is nonsensical.
It's funny because, like, if I could do a better job explaining a few of the scenes, all you would have to do is explain it and people would be like, that's not real, right? You're like, it's real, man.
It's as bad as Spider-Man 3's
Black
dance scene.
Dance?
Yeah, like,
absolutely.
That's the entire movie.
Yep. It's completely cringy. Like, it's just like...
Cringy comedy coupled with scenes that are nonsensical for the character.
Yep.
That are just like, why is this here? Nobody is doing a great job acting in the movie. It's written badly. I don't know. The best scene of the movie is the credits.
Yeah. We can quickly talk about that. We might have to dive back into other stuff as things get reminded, but
yeah, so
take that away.
The mid-credit scene basically it starts off with Tom Hardy on a beach. He's basically had to escape California or wherever to get away from
the mid-credit scene is when he's in the hotel room. I'm assuming it's insinuating that it's after the beach. It ends on the beach, remember?
Oh, right. Okay. So basically he's off in some foreign country, tropical location, staying in a hotel of some sort. And he's on bed watching TV, some like Spanish or something soap opera that him and Venom are watching together and having a discussion about.
So stupid also.
Basically Venom tells Tom Hardy that like if I showed you everything I know knowledge wise about my like symbiote alien race or whatever, I would blow your mind basically. And so he's like, I'll give you like a 3% snippet of like my knowledge basically. And it like kind of bubbles off of him like an explosion of like, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. A ripple effect throughout the world. And then all of a sudden the TV changes channels with a flash of a news report.
And the outside change, like outside of the windows and stuff change too. Something happens outside too.
Yeah, well, I think that's a multiverse thing. But
I do too, yeah.
Basically, the TV station changes. You hear J. Jonah Jameson's voice saying like, you know, basically Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And they show Tom Holland Spider-Man on screen basically. And Venom goes and like licks the screen.
So fucking creepy. Like it's funny because even when people message me and they're like, yeah, but that mid credit though, I'm like, man, that mid credit is still fucking weird. It's cool because it introduces the MCU into Venom's world. Cool. But then Venom goes and licks Peter Parker's face. I know it's on screen, but still. And it doesn't have any explanation. He just goes up and gives him a little licky. And I'm like, okay, that kid's in high school. So this is weird.
Well,
for
A,
one.
That's the weird part. But B, like, at no point in the movie did they set up that, like, oh, he can sense who you would have, like, a symbiotic relationship with. And like they have that whole scene when Venom and Tom Hardy separate where he's jumping body to body and none of these bodies work for him. And clearly he has no sense of who he can go in and live harmoniously with and who he can't. So they've already set that up that he has no idea what's going to happen when he jumps into a new body. But then all of a sudden he looks at the screen, sees a high school kid who, I don't know, he knows is Spider-Man, who clearly they've never set up any information in the movies that Spider-Man exists in this universe. They have any idea who Spider-Man is, have any knowledge of Spider-Man existing, any of that. But then he goes, licks the screen like he has some kind of weird sexual hard-on for this high school kid named Peter Parker / Spider-Man. And I'm like, well, if that flash bubble thing was them going into a new multiverse, why would he have any care about who Spider-Man is? It doesn't make any sense. Other than we know that Spider-Man and Venom are a thing, but them as characters, it would just be like, what the fuck is a Spider-Man?
Yep.
Makes no sense.
Man, it's funny because I say the only good thing about the movie is the mid-credit. And then everyone's like, oh yeah, it was so crazy. I'm just like, no, the thing that's good about it is that it tells me that Kevin Feige is going to have his hands on Venom sooner than later.
Wait, that's where I want to spin this conversation into.
Uh-oh.
Does it mean that Kevin Feige has his hands on Venom and Venom's joining the MCU? Or does it mean that after Spider-Man 3, Sony is taking back Spider-Man and Spider-Man's now part of the Sony Pictures universe? Because they can go either way.
It could go either way, yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
And that's my point.
I'm kind of hoping that this is the key to him going into the MCU.
Same.
As part of the multiverse. I'm assuming that the plan is that Spider-Man is staying put. So because the thing is if because Sony would be stupid to not. Like, it's the only way they can make money off a Spider-Man movie. I mean, I shouldn't say
I agree.
They make money off those old ones, but it's the only way they make a good story for Spider-Man.
So so basing off of this end credit scene, do we expect that Venom's going to be a part of Spider-Man 3 in any way?
Yes.
In this whole multiverse thing?
Yes.
Or do we expect that it's setting up perhaps like Spider-Man 3's in credit scene where they set up like, oh, all of a sudden Venom's coming to town after this whole big fight, and that sets up either Venom 3 / Spider-Man 4 of like, okay, now we're going to get a full movie of Spider-Man and Venom.
I feel like the mid-credit scene on this movie takes place chronologically during the new Spider-Man movie. That's what I think.
So
I think it's going to happen in the movie somewhere.
It happens when Doctor Strange does his spell from the trailer. That spell goes wrong, and you see the burst out of everything that happens, and that's impacting.
I don't think that spell is. I think that spell part in that Far From Home or No Way Home trailer or whatever is a complete. Like, I feel like it's a something to distract us. I feel like it's a false narrative. I don't think that it's just going to be Doctor Strange wishes it away and that's it. I think that's a mislead. So I don't think that is going to be the case. I don't know how he's going to enter in. I don't know, but I think it'll be in the new movie. It might continue further from that, but I do think we'll see him in No Way Home. In the movie.
So there's like a few theories online that the what if version of Doctor Strange is actually in that Spider-Man movie, and that's
I think I said that when that movie.
Doctor Strange.
I think that when we had that conversation about that episode, I had said that. Yeah, I wondered if that was the one in, because he even looks different in the trailer for No Way Home. So
right.
Spider-Man variant is saying that Tom Holland Spider-Man is in the end credits. Yes, we were just speaking about that.
That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, there's the chance or a rumor online or whatever. My buddy was telling me after the movie that Sony wants to take back Spider-Man, but not Tom Holland's. They want to leave Tom Holland's Spider-Man as part of the MCU, and then after this multi-universe war, they want to bring back Andrew Garfield's version of Spider-Man for the Venom universe in Sony Pictures.
That would be great. As long as MCU can have Tom Holland, I think that'd be great. The thing is this would be the perfect time for them to do that, because they are going to basically use the next Spider-Man to explain how Toby and Andrew are back. So at this point, like, originally the plan they didn't want to do that because they were worried it would cause confusion, where it's like, okay, how can you have Tom Holland be Spider-Man and have somebody else be Spider-Man in these movies? Like, it doesn't make sense. But the next movie is going to be able to explain that to the general audience. So maybe now I think the
wiser decision, in my opinion, is to have crossovers, here and there between the universes, but I could see them introducing Miles in the next Spider-Man movie, and then Sony taking Miles and doing their own version of Spider-Man in Sony Pictures universe, and then leaving Tom Holland Spider-Man as part of the MCU.
To be honest with you, I'd be okay with that, because the only Sony Spider-Man movie that I feel is like a good cohesive movie, like, again, I'm not saying I didn't like the Raimi ones. At the time, I liked them. I don't think they aged well personally, and I also don't think that the majority of the people cast for those movies were like the right fit, in my opinion. But I do think the only Sony property that's Spider property that Sony has done for me that was a cohesive story was Into the Spider-Verse, and I feel like that's obviously a Miles heavy story. So if they wanted to take their chance and do a live action Miles, sure, I'd be fine with that. I mean, it'd be better for me because then I can keep Peter in the MCU and I don't have to worry about what the fuck they're going to do with it on the Sony side. Again, when Feige's involved, I'm generally not that worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, I personally would prefer, obviously, that Venom is now part of the MCU. Keep him there. Kevin has his hands on both of them and says, like, hey, we're going to make sure that Venom 3 is awesome. It's going to be part of the MCU, but we're going to set up Spider-Man 4 in, 2023 first, and that's going to be the full-on
Spider-Man versus Venom?
Spider-Man versus Venom. It's going to be the end credit scene of Spider-Man 3 as showing, like, Venom, walking into New York City or something like that. You see Eddie, applying for a job or whatever the case may be. And then boom, he's in, and we see that dynamic change of like, oh, here we go. But I have a feeling that Sony is just way too money hungry to think that they can't do the job themselves. So
Yeah, I agree with you.
I don't know.
The thing is like this movie's gonna make money because the first one did, and this one's going to.
I don't know.
There's good hype around it, and right now superhero movies are on a high again because Shang-Chi came in and did a really great job. So
the movie apparently cost $110 million.
That's it.
So that's what it says. The budget was 110. Now, obviously, that doesn't include marketing and shit like that. Yeah. So even if we can push it to 150, it should have no problem making that. I would assume.
Yeah, I agree.
The question is Morbius, and
Morbius is gonna bomb.
I assume that movie's gonna bomb pretty hard.
It's gonna bomb.
And does that make Sony go, "Hey, let's stop our bullshit and just let Kevin and Disney and whatever handle our future pictures," If
Morbius is written like either of the Venom movies are, it is a guaranteed flop.
Yeah.
Easy to read names. Oh, that wasn't easy to read. See, I almost screwed it up. I was like, Easy Torres de Nemos. What the? So Sony will just rush to Venom versus Spider-Man before actually setting up the fight. Yeah, that's pretty much their MO, right? It's just like, hey, how can I cram everything into this? And again, it's funny because when I think about No Way Home, there's everything in it. There's Spider-Man, there's Doctor Strange, there's Wanda, there's the Sinister Six, Doc Ock, and Toby, and whatever. But I'm not really that worried about that one. I'm actually more excited about that one because
I think it's going to be a 3-hour movie.
I think it's the longest MCU movie. Didn't they say that? I thought I just saw running time. It's longer than Endgame, I'm pretty sure. I thought I read that. Oh, I
don't know.
That might be Eternals.
Yeah, my buddy said the same thing about Eternals. It's not. It's longer than Infinity War. It's shorter than Endgame.
Gotcha. I thought I read.
It's like 2 hours and 40 minutes. I think. Eternals.
Okay.
Endgame was over 3 hours. So.
Gotcha.
If Spider-Man is longer than Endgame, then like Jesus Christ, we can't go longer than 3 hours. Like.
I mean, I would because I'm all for it, but yeah.
3 hours is long enough, dude.
There's a lot to take in that Spider-Man. And like, again, we've talked about this, right? Like, I don't really think all of these major components are going to be a big part of it. I think there's things that are going to just be introduced here as like kind of an entry point, right? So
sure.
I just think we're going to get a lot of firsts this time. I don't necessarily think everything's going to have a big role here. Even Wanda, if Wanda shows up, I think it'll just be to tease that she's going to be a villain in Doctor Strange. So, easy to read name says, I fully expect No Way Home to be a complete mess, but it'll be cool to see the good Spider-Man return. Oh, see, we don't agree there because I'm a Tom. I don't know about you, but I'm a Tom Holland fan myself. I think he's the best.
I'm a Tom Holland fan. I think they learned from the original Spider-Man 3 that you can't put 75 villains in a movie and have it be shit. Like, I think they're doing this in a way that makes sense for the film. I don't think you're going to see all 6 or all 5 villains in a majority of the film. I think you're going to see one-off.
I agree.
Fight scenes setting up, like, here is the Dr. Octopus arc of the film where it's a 15-minute scene, fight on the bridge, boom, Spider kicks him back through a portal back to his universe, and we carry on. See, I disagree too. Tom is major cringe. I don't find him major cringe at all. I think he's by far the best Peter Parker we've had.
I agree.
I think he does a great version of Spider-Man. I wish they did a little bit less of the Iron Man tech in his suit and did a little bit more of just like a straight up Spider-Man.
Me too. But you gotta have something to have him cling on. The thing is like he doesn't have Ben. I mean, he does, but we don't talk about Uncle Ben in this universe. So you kind of have to have something that forces him to enhance himself and get better as a hero, right? I understand how some people can think Tom Holland is cringe. It all depends on the Spider-Man that you love and the Spider-Man that you grew up with and the Spider-Man that got you into Spider-Man to begin with if it was a comic. Because it's like, to me, Tom Holland is literally classic Spider-Man. I mean, obviously updated for the modern times, but like, he's a kid. He's struggling to balance being a kid and being a superhero. He fucks up everything all the time, but he just has to make it right. And it's like, it's not like I liked Toby for things. Like, I liked Toby because he was nervous and you know, kind of like nerdy, I guess. And he was awkward. Awkward is a good way to put it. So I did like Tobey Maguire, but like my hard thing was like, I'm sorry, you can't sell that cast to me as a cast from high school. They all look like they're 25, wearing like it doesn't connect. And then Andrew is cool, but he's just not Peter Parker. Like,
no, he looks good as Spider-Man, but he's not Peter Parker.
He's way too. I love Andrew Garfield's performance. Like, I think he's a cool dude, but he just, like, to me, that is not Peter Parker in any of the comics that I hold dear to me. That made Spider-Man. I loved Spider-Man when I was a kid because I grew up getting picked on. So it's like, when I see somebody who is like suffering from all those nerd isms, and it's like, I grew to that, and like, that's not Andrew Garfield. Like, he was just a cool dude, and like, I didn't buy it. So
no, I totally agree.
Easy to rename says, well, from the leaked parts of No Way Home, it will be mainly Goblin, Ock, and Electro for the first half. Sinister Six will be at the end. So yes, I do think that we'll see. The reason why we'll see them all together, I think, is because you can't have Doc Ock take on 3 Spider-Man. They'll just make quick work of him. Like, you need to have multiple villains if you're going to take on 3 Spider-Man. And then if Daredevil show his face too, then that's another whole piece too, right? So
yeah, I think you'll get a fight scene near the beginning, and then you'll see, you know, the introduction. Let's say Dr. Octopus is first. Dr. Ock coming in, you see a fight scene. Whatever happens at the end of that fight scene, where either Doc's out of commission or he goes back through a portal or whatever the fuck happens. And then at the end, you're going to see all 3 Spider-Man fighting the Sinister Six. And it's going to be this whole big fucking fight scene where each Spider-Man is taking on 2 of them or something like that. And it's going to cut between the 3 different fight battle scenes. You know, Doc Ock with his tentacles fucking taking on fucking whatever, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Tobey knows how to take him down because he's already fought him, kind of thing. And basically Tom Holland relying on these other Spider-Man's expertise from their universe to take down all these villains. And then boom, the end of the movie, they all kind of get separated in some way, go back to their universes or whatever the case may happen. Or they maintain as part of our universe and they get put in, you know, prison or whatever. But, I think it's hard to write these characters off and not have our own versions of those characters in some way. So either they stay in our universe and this, you know, get put away for a while, you know, Venom is the next big thing, or, they get kicked back to their universe, but some of them stay or whatever.
Well, what they could always do is they could always keep the tech from them. Like, you know, say something happens where, you know, Goblin loses his tech or something, and then someone in our universe picks it up. I think that like, I don't think they'll stay in our universe, our main MCU universe, but I do think that they will inspire new Doc Ocks and new Green Goblins and new Electros and new Sandmans, right? So I think it's going to open the door to see more of that. So,
well, as the MCU has gone on, it's always been like an alien / tech heavy, you know, universe, right? Yep. Where they're keeping the tech from all the space invasion shit of Avengers 1. Yep. You have all the Stark tech going on. And, you know, like the whole arc of Spider-Man 1 was Vulture taking on all this alien tech and introducing it into his own suit and everything like that.
Yep.
So to carry on that narrative of like, hey, yeah, we're going to bring in, you know, Dr. Octopus's hands, you know, all of a sudden a new villain creeps up with that kind of thing, or Green Goblin's glider or something along those lines of like, oh, that's now part of the tech world of this universe. Yeah, I could totally see that.
I wonder if, I think the cool thing about that is like, if we could keep Spider-Man's world like in that kind of that scope where it's like people are taking unknown kind of unhuman tech and it's just like everyday thugs who have like this advanced tech, it would also help keep Spider-Man like grounded as more of like a street level hero too, which I think would be good.
Sure.
So
yeah, I mean, Easy to Read Name says, although it's weird that we've only got 5 members rumored as or known as of right now, and my assumption is Kingpin will be the 6th. That will be the big reveal.
Ooh, that would be awesome. That would be great. He could be funding it.
Yeah, I think Kingpin will come in as like basically the head of this new Sinister Six.
We'll know Kingpin by then too, because he'll have introduced it, but in Hawkeye by then, hopefully. But
my assumption is that's part of the introduction of it. Is you're going to see him in Hawkeye setting things up, but you're not going to know that he's part of like Spider-Man's whole plot of the movie until like I think near the end of the movie, where all of a sudden he's going to roll in and fucking be like the head of the Sinister Six type thing or whatever.
That would be cool.
That's my assumption.
I hope that if we do that, we get a chance to spend more time with Kingpin. Like, I hope Peter beats him and then he gets bitter. And then it would be great to see another movie where we get to see Daredevil and Spider-Man versus Kingpin. How dope would that be?
Yeah, sure. Or like Kingpin hires like Kraven or something like that to come in and like assassinate Peter in the next movie or whatever. Yeah. And that's part of the arc of it too. Or
maybe.
You know, I don't know. Like, I could see the whole Venom movie also having things to do with like the underworld and Kingpin and being involved in some way. So I think that could be definitely setting up the fourth film.
Yeah. Well, all I can say is whatever ends up happening in the Sony Spider-Man universe, just please keep whoever the fuck was involved with Venom 2 away from it, because that was just abysmal. Like, it was just so bad. Like,
So the writer of the screenplay of Venom 2 was also the writer of 50 Shades of Black, the movie.
Interesting. I don't know that movie.
Or 50 Shades of Grey, or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah. 50 Shades of Black is the softcore porn Venom movie.
God, give us that. It would be better than this.
Eddie, here's my dick, Eddie.
You do a really good Venom.
Thank you.
Yeah, no. That's Venom 2. That's all I really got to say. I think it was a bad movie.
It was very bad.
I'll buy it because I own all of these movies, but I have no intention of watching it again anytime soon.
Yeah. Easy to read name says Carnage was so wasted. It's just pathetic to see how he was used. Yep. I agree.
Well, and also, like, I really didn't expect them to kill Carnage at the end.
Me neither.
I really thought that they'd be setting up, like, Venom and Spider-Man needing to team up in the next film to take down Carnage in some way.
The thing was he was just Riot again, but just we could see him this time. That was
so my assumption is they're gonna do like an invasion on Earth of like the symbiotes from the homeworld or whatever the fuck. That's like, gonna be the arc of the movie where
the next Venom movie.
Yeah, is you're gonna see like an invasion of all these different symbiotes on Earth.
Honestly, man, if they do that, then the people who are organizing those movies need to be fired, because like the last thing we need in Venom 3 is another symbiote versus symbiote fight. They're literally exactly the same movie to movie. There's only so many.
I agree, but
I know they're crazy, but
that's the only thing they've set up. Like
Sony's wanting to start pushing this Kraven thing, which I also think is weird. But that being said, I do actually think Kraven's story is very interesting. So I think if it was done right, they could actually do Kraven very cool. I don't think their choice of cast is really the best of Evan Peters, or no, not Evan Peters. What's his name? The guy who played Quicksilver in the MCU.
Yeah.
Kick-Ass.
It's Evan Peters and
is Days of Future Past, X-Men.
Yeah.
But anyways, like I think like having Kraven come in and hunt Venom, I think would be an amazing idea, because it would be different. And like the last thing we need is more of the same, because that's what we got here, and it's just it doesn't work. Like, it didn't work the first time, and it is especially tiring the second time.
Yeah, no, I agree fully, and I think I hope that Sony learns from this and lets Kevin take over, and they get not that I think Andy Serkis really did anything bad in the movie. It was shot fine. The CGI looked good, but
it was written badly. That's what it ultimately comes down to.
Yeah, it was written very poorly. It was acted very poorly.
Yeah.
And it's not even really the actor's fault. When you get that screenplay, your job is to act out that screenplay, and it's bad. So
it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope that the next movie's better, and I hope that we do see a glimpse of Venom maybe in the next Spider-Man movie, and that sets up Spider-Man 4. I think that'd be great.
I would love to get a proper Aaron Taylor Johnson. That's his name.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. Sure.
but yeah, I would love to give them the benefit of the doubt, but at this point, no. Like I'm not gonna. They're not good. They're not good at this. They should stop. They should sell that back to Marvel and make some fucking money before they lose everything.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not good. I really never wish for things to perform poorly, but I really hope this performs poorly because I would love to see Disney get a chance to get those Spider-Man rights back. So
yeah, I don't think Venom 3 will be him versus Spider-Man. I think they'll save that for a proper Spider-Man film.
The thing is if they commit to Venom 3, even if this one doesn't perform well, if they brought Spider-Man into Venom's world, it would sell tickets. So maybe they would do that just to kind of save. But the thing is to me is like I would have a hard time with a Venom that's funnier than, or he's not funny, but who tries to be funnier than Peter Parker does. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
well, maybe Venom and Peter will get along because they find out both their mom's name was Martha.
There have been worse. You just reminded me that there have been worse comic book movies. So there you go.
I don't know worse, but equally
maybe
badly written.
Worse.
I don't know.
Yeah. So,
all right.
So the final takeaway is for anybody who has not seen Venom 2, let me just round it up for you. Carnage is a 90s pimp who can turn into a tornado. And what else?
It's badly acted, badly written, looks like shit, has no cohesive storyline.
Venom goes to a rave, and he loves chocolate, and he can't kill his chickens, Sonny and Cher.
Yeah. Again, why are they named Sonny and Cher? We never got a scene where Venom's looking at a Sonny and Cher thing and going, I love these people.
I don't look too much into that. They should have called them like Stan and Steve or something.
Anything would be better that it made sense. I don't know. It's a bad movie.
Venom.
I'd give it about a 3.5 out of 10.
I would probably give it about the same.
Yes.
I'm gonna read a few more of these comments here. Easy to read name says never underestimate Sony. An easy way to make Venom 3 is to make a shit ton of money would be to have Tom Holland Spider-Man in it. Yep, that's what I think too.
I agree, but I also think they want to redeem the Venom name, and if this movie performs poorly, they're gonna want to tie in Spider-Man and Venom into an actual name that has recognizable like value.
But that's the thing is like
they go the opposite way.
Show one trailer with Tom Holland in it, he's recognizable enough. It doesn't matter if the show's called Spider-Man or Venom; it'll sell tickets.
It will sell tickets, but I honestly think that if they want to redeem Venom, they're going to bring him into the MCU and bring him into Spider-Man rather than vice versa.
They may start
because fans are going to fucking riot. Fans are going to riot if they take back Spider-Man and then all of a sudden Spider-Man's part of Sony's universe and not in the MCU anymore. We already seen it.
Rano says maybe that's why they had that end scene because of Spider-Man. He'll sell the box office, yeah. And then easy to read name says Venom eats cocks, not clickbait.
Can make that on Pornhub.
Rano says, was there a Stan Lee cameo? Not that I caught. Did you catch anything?
Yeah, there was a picture of him or something.
Oh, was there? I must have missed it.
I can't remember where, but
I'm not gonna lie. I got incredibly baked before I went in because I was like, I'm not doing this sober.
No, I was actually like half asleep. I was in a rush to go to the movies, so yeah, it wasn't good.
Easy to read name says I'd rather them just redo Venom in the MCU. This Venom cannot work with Tom.
Well, that is a problem that they're going to have to figure out is Tom Holland's 17 or 18 in these movies ish, I would guess, and Tom Hardy's like, I don't know, 35.
That part doesn't bother me though, because in the comics, Peter was a kid and Venom was a man.
Where would they cross over in any real way, I guess? I mean, I guess a villain / hero, but like, I don't know. It just, I don't know. That's not good.
I don't think that part doesn't really bug me as much because I feel like, you know, when most people think of Spider-Man, you would never think it's a kid. You would think it's a man with powers. So, you know, all of his villains are older than him, right?
Yeah, no, you're right, but I don't know. I would just, to see their universes cross over in any real way, like you would think they would have like some common ground.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe they could cross paths at the Daily Bugle or something like that, but
totally.
I don't know. It's
maybe it's what you referred to earlier. Maybe it's like Venom recognizes he's a suitable host and he kind of encourages Eddie to do it, and then maybe he kind of turns his back on Eddie and jumps on him, and that's what causes Eddie to go crazy or something. I don't know.
Yeah. No, the personal relationship thing we talked about in the end credit scene is, why is Venom licking the screen when he has no knowledge or relationship with Tom Holland or Spider-Man? It doesn't make any sense. So
yes, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
We talked about it earlier, but yeah, it's nonsensical. But yeah, no, it's a bad movie. I would say save your money.
Yeah, it's bad.
Catch it on Netflix or whatever in 3 to 6 months when it's out, and watch it for free.
Yeah, it's bad.
I wouldn't say it's worth $20. Don't ruin a date night with this, because the person you bring out on a date is going to be mad at you for making them watch it.
It's funny because I bought ticket for me and my wife, and then my wife hated the first one, which she doesn't really like most of the superhero movies, really. She'll tolerate some of them, but
yeah.
So she walks in on Thursday. We go Thursday night. She walks in on like Thursday afternoon at like 1, and she's like, I'm like, oh man. I'm like, I just read a bunch of reviews about how bad Venom is. And then like 10 minutes later, she's like, do I really have to go? I was like, no, like, I don't care. I'll go by myself. And she's just like, I just don't want to sit through that. Like, you just read me a bunch of bad reviews and you want me to go still? Why are you even going? And I'm like, oh, well, I need to have something to make fun of with Ryan tomorrow. So like,
yeah. She's the best, man. Like, it's funny because it's true. It's like, why are you putting yourself through a bad movie? But
I know. Well, it was this was fun. I was looking forward to talking shit on it all.
No, same. And there's something about a bad movie that makes you have fun with it. Like, if you're not super pumped for the movie and it's not like a huge letdown, then it's fine, because I had zero expectations going into this movie, where it wasn't a disappointment. It's exactly what I expected it to be, a bad movie.
Same here.
Yeah.
If anything, it was even worse than I expected, because I was like, I can't believe the decisions that they've made here. Some of them seem very weird. Like, it seems like a weird choice to do what you're doing right now.
No, totally. I mean, it's the same as Dark Phoenix, right?
Yeah, totally.
When we went to see Dark Phoenix together, we knew it was going to be a bad movie. We knew it was the last real X-Men movie that they were going to put out. So we knew it was probably going to be a pile of shit. And we went into the theater and it was a pile of shit. And we were like, well, we had fun watching it, even though it was bad. And it's the same as this movie.
That was a pile of shit, as expected.
Yeah, Venom 2 is on par with Dark Phoenix, where it's like, it's badly written, it's badly shot, it's not great. There's nothing redeeming about the movie. It's not a good movie. If you enjoy a bad movie, you can make fun of it and have a fun night out. I would recommend it. But if you're going into it going, hey, I really like to see a great movie, I would say pass and stay home and watch the paint dry on your wall.
Easy to read name says it's the backstory that's the issue. This Venom has no personal relationship to Spider-Man. Yeah, that's what we just said. It's true. And he also says, can't wait for Venom 4, where Venom fights Toxin in another crap symbiote fight. And he also says, I agree. The last real X-Men movie was Logan. There was never a Dark Phoenix movie.
I wish. Logan was amazing, and my favorite.
Logan was by far one of the best. Yeah. I think I still like. I don't know why. It's funny because even upon rewatching it, I don't really like. I don't find X2 aged well at all. But there are a lot of scenes in X2 that I really love. Like, I love that White House scene with Nightcrawler. But yeah, there's a lot of real bad stuff in there now. But I do still think Days of Future Past hold up. I really like Days. I think that's my favorite X-Men movie, but probably followed by Logan or X2 and Logan. But
yeah. Well, I think that's the end of this episode.
I do too. That was a longie.
We've covered everything.
We had lots to say about Venom.
Yeah, we went on for a good hour over Venom. So
God, that just sucked so bad.
Yeah, it's a disappointment, especially because we gotten so many good superhero films in the last few years that they just missed the mark entirely. I don't understand how you put this movie out. If this was 2003, I'd say,
yeah,
but
again, this plays like pre MCU, comic book movies.
If this came out during the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, I'd be like, well, hey, it's a Venom movie. We got it.
Yep.
Not in 2021. It's not acceptable.
I agree. Not with the level that we're getting from the Disney team. And again, I know Disney one's not for everybody, so I also get that. But I have a hard time I would love to see somebody argue that this is a better movie than Shang-Chi. I'm not saying that I'm seeing that, but I'm saying I would love to see someone argue that. So
I'd like to see somebody argue that A Stroke would be better than this movie, because it's not.
Decent by early 2000 standards.
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. If this came out in 2000 or 2001, different story.
Yeah.
All right. So again, reminder, Matt will not be on the next 2 episodes. I haven't figured out what I'm doing next, but yeah, we'll miss Matt, but he'll be back in 3 weeks, I guess. So
yeah, I guess it'll be 3 weeks. Yeah.
October 22nd, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So Matt will be back on October 22nd. The next 2 weeks, we'll figure something out for the next 2 episodes. They'll be different. They won't be probably covering anything comic book related. And then we'll bounce back 22nd. We'll do What If episode, the finale, episode 9, and
yes,
I don't know, whatever else we want to discuss over the next 3 weeks.
I hope you guys all enjoy the final What If episode.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be good.
You can watch it like 27 times by the time we cover it. So
I'm gonna, don't worry.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, thanks to everybody for watching, and we hope you enjoyed the episode. And if you did, please follow us. You can follow us at Customs by Matthew and at Moose Milk Media. We're available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. So if you enjoy the show, you can follow us on there. Get the audio only format to listen on the go. You can re-listen to this episode right now.
Are you still uploading them on YouTube or no?
Yep, still on YouTube. Right. Just the exact copy of this video just goes to YouTube. Right. And then our art is done by at Jeannie Milnart on Instagram. So if you enjoy our art, please give her a follow as well. And I'll be back next week. Matt will be back in 3 weeks. So stay good, buddy. Enjoy your vacation,
homie. Thanks.
Later, bud.